Hello guys, Flankers here. Today we will review all forthcoming updates that were announced by devs in the December patch 1.2. Apart from that, we will also take a look at the updates on PTR server in the second part of this video, so feel free to use the timecodes in the description. Meanwhile, I'll be casually fishing on the background. First major update is gonna be about expertise and Gypsum System. Since New World's launch, we've heard the feedback from our community that the high watermark system was not communicated effectively, promotes a single monotonous activity, had too much randomness, and was a bit too grindy. So, we are completely revamping the system to address these concerns. The new and improved system is called Expertise. Even though I personally don't really mind grinding, but the watermark system was definitely not perfect. In addition to that, the chances to get an upgrade on watermark slot have been recently decreased, so players who managed to max it earlier now have the advantage. In the December update, Expertise will govern the highest drops that you can get per slot, much like high watermark system did. But starting in early 2022, it will also govern the effectiveness of your gear. This means if your Warhammer Expertise is 520 and you equip a 550 gear score Warhammer, the weapon's effective gear score will be reduced to 520. While we understand to some players this may result in a temporary reduction in power, we believe that in the long run, this will result in more rewarding progression loop that can be bypassed by buying gear off the trading post. So this is going to be somewhat similar to weapon mastery, but when it comes to weapons, you can just go and grind the mobs until you reach level 20 and that's it. And in this case, I suppose it will take much more time. In addition to that, the watermark system previously was still an optional thing, and now you actually must do it. Otherwise, the players who did that earlier will have an advantage that literally appeared out of nowhere. A major improvement provided by Expertise is that a player's expertise per slot is displayed on the inventory screen, as well as the average expertise of all equipped gear. Additionally, each time a player gets an expertise bump, a level up banner will appear showing their new expertise level. Note that the expertise system unlocks at level 60, so this information will not be shown until then. And this is gonna look like that. Well, yeah, that's definitely a good thing, and it's gonna be much easier now to track your progress. I'm still wondering why it has not been implemented earlier, but anyway, thank you for this update, Amazon. The second major improvement we made is adding a way for players to control their gear progression. To achieve this, we introduced Gypsum. Gypsum is a new resource that is found by doing a variety of activities. Gypsum can be crafted into Gypsum Orbs, which can be turned into special caches called Gypsum Casts. Gypsum Casts are gear type specific and when opened, guarantee an expertise bump for that type of gear, as well as an item of that type. So if you really want to increase your bow expertise, you can craft Gypsum Bow Cast. Finally, there are not many things in general that can piss me off, but this was one of them most definitely. Since the release, I mainly focused on power leveling all trade skills to 200 in order to avoid watermark grind, and everything went well according to my plan, and for a long time my gear was much better than the gear of the average player. But then I faced a problem that ruined everything. You probably know that I'm an archer, and the best in slot bow for archers can be obtained in Lazarus expedition. In order to get that bow, I need to max my bow watermark first, but I can't focus on bow only. I will keep getting drops with other pieces of gear and 11 other weapons that I don't need, which is bloody ridiculous and will take forever, especially after the nerf. And now players can earn gypsum by doing 7 different game activities. We believe that providing different ways to collect gypsum will allow players to play a variety of content while always finding at least a few activities they love to progress in their gear score. So finally, it's not gonna be just elite chests once per day, stockpile runs and infinite mobs grind. Now players will have a strong reason to go to Genesis and Lazarus expeditions, even if their watermark or expertise is not maxed yet. More players will join Outpost Rush, so even on low populated servers you won't have to wait in queue for an hour. And this update will also make arenas more popular because, for example, I have never been on arena before. Engaging in these activities for 30-60 minutes a day will earn players enough gypsum of that type to craft a gypsum orb. After players have earned sufficient gypsum for an orb, they won't earn more for 23 hours. Well, this cooldown probably exists for at least 2 reasons. First, players will have have a reason to log in every day. Secondly, they probably don't want to have a high difference in character progression between hardcore and casual players. And even though, as a hardcore player, I don't really like the second reason, but at least I understand the logic behind it. Gypsum Orbs can be crafted into Gypsum Casts of any weapon, armor, or trinket type. Note that you can only craft any type of cast once per day. Opening a Gypsum Cast will guarantee an expertise bump and reward players with a random piece of gear of that type, with gear score equal to the new expertise level. We also introduced a new kiln crafting station in all endgame zones that will allow players to craft gypsum orbs and the various gypsum casts. Now, this part may require some additional clarification, and fortunately, there was another comment from devs on this matter. This means you can only craft one of each weapon type per day, for example, only one gypsum bow cast or one gypsum firestaff cast a day. But you could theoretically craft as many as 20 gypsum casts in a day, 3 jewelry, 5 armor, 12 weapons if you had that many gypsum orbs. Note though, you will only be able to earn enough gypsum to craft a maximum of 7 gypsum orbs a day. So pretty much there are 7 possible ways to get gypsum every day. Using all of them will allow you to get 7 gypsum orbs that you need to craft 7 gypsum casts in order to increase the expertise of particular slots. So theoretically, you can get a guaranteed increase for all armor slots and 2 main weapons every day. Note that we've tuned down the general chances of getting an expertise bump to compensate for the guaranteed bumps that were added with gypsum. Elite chest odds were reduced a little, but open world named enemies were reduced a lot. But we have increased up the amount your expertise increases with each bump to make gypsum casts and the random bumps feel more valuable. To be honest, I'm not sure whether they're talking about previous nerf or there's gonna be another one, but it seems that farming Fate the Last Protector or any other named mobs will no longer be an option. Many players worried that the gypsum will be sold in the cash shop, and there was an answer about it too. Fortunately, it won't be sold. Apart from that, there was an answer from one of the devs that watermark progression will not be reset, it will be just converted to expertise. In general, at this point of time, I have an impression that the expertise system should be much better than the watermark system. Personally, I like all these changes except the armor gear score down scaling. And what do you guys think about it? Have you already started crafting arena keys or doing something like that to prepare for this update? Feel free to share your thoughts and opinions in the comments. I'm curious what other people think about it. And now, let's move to the second part. To ensure that all our in-game activities provide compelling rewards for the effort and risk involved, we have reviewed them and made some adjustments. For this round, we've focused on expeditions. Our goal is that expeditions are super rewarding experiences since they require a time investment to craft an orb and are challenging content. We have made 4 adjustments to make them more rewarding. First, each expedition boss will guarantee a random expertise bump. Second, we fixed all chests in Lazarus Instrumentality and Garden of Genesis so they have a chance to provide endgame expertise bumps. If I'm not mistaken, it should have been like that from the beginning. Many players complained that it wasn't like that, and I saw a reply of one of the devs that it has already been fixed, so I believe it's not really an update, it's just a fixed bug. Third, added Item Shards as a guaranteed drop for expedition bosses and as a chance to drop from elite chests. Fourth, added guaranteed Sapphire Gypsum drops for each expedition boss. We already know about number 4, so let's take a closer look at number 3. Item Shards are a new crafting ingredient that enables players to craft an item with a specific attribute bonus in it, while still being able to use a craft mode to guarantee a perk. Item Shards are guaranteed to drop from expedition bosses and have a chance to drop from elite chests in expeditions and elite landmarks. So this is going to be somewhat similar to crafting replicas, when you also had a guaranteed attribute but a very limited list of perks that replica could have. And these item shards, I believe, can be used to craft any piece of gear. So this update should make a long and expensive process of getting a best-in-slot item with perfect perks a bit less painful. We've modified 2 other elite landmarks to become endgame points of interest. The Malevolence in Edinburgh was upleveled to level 66 content and now has 6 elite chests that can all provide endgame expertise bumps. The Imperial Palace and North Dynasty Shrine elite landmarks in Ebonscale Reach were also upleveled to level 66 content and 8 elite chests were added. Now there will be an endgame open world area in each of the endgame territories: Ebonscale Reach, Shattered Mountain, Edingrove, and Requarter. 2 more endgame elite areas. That's definitely some good news for those who have serious intentions to max their expertise level. Apart from that, Malevolence and Imperial Palace will definitely become more popular locations because at this point of time, you can rarely see any groups there. Now let's take a look at some of the updates on PTR server. There is actually a lot of them, but we will focus only on those that will appear in game with like 99% chance. First of all, the winter holiday event that will start on December the 14th and last till the 11th of January. There will be multiple different activities for players to earn winter tokens that can be used in a holiday shop to get rare and cosmetic items, such as weapon and armor skins, consumables, and present gifting emote. One of the ways to get winter tokens is to complete new town board missions. This will upgrade a settlement tree of light and players will be able to get daily rewards. Another way is to find the lost presents while traveling throughout the world to exchange them for winter tokens. And the last one is collecting meteors that will be falling from the sky at nighttime and exchange them for winter tokens too. Also, the ice caves will appear in the next update and will remain in game even after the end of the winter event. According to the feedback from PTR players, it is some sort of mini dungeon. One more interesting thing is a new quest line that I believe starts at level 25 and ends with level 66 elite boss, according to PTR players. Finally, some great news for crafters and gatherers. Upon reaching level 200 in a trait skill, the leveling circle will update to show 3 markers equidistant from each other on the circle. Earning trait skill experience will begin progressing you again, and when you reach one of these markers, you will be awarded with a container of useful items that are mostly trait skill relevant, such as craft modes, special ingredients, and even schematics and recipes. Each subsequent marker awards a more spectacular container with more rewards than the one before. Gaining enough experience to go all the way around the circle will increment the aptitude counter by 1. This counter will keep counting so you can keep track of how many times you've wrapped your progression around the top level. Keep in mind that you can also get emerald gypsum from those containers, so now it is a good time to focus on maxing your trade skills. We have also introduced a new type of reward with this system, equipment patterns. Equipment patterns are crafting artifacts that enable you to craft a guaranteed 600 gear score item that has a specific appearance. Patterns require a significant amount of powerful crafting resources to create, but guarantee a 600 gear score item. Patterns still roll perks and players have the normal amount of control over their outcome with craft modes and acid. Equipment patterns have a small chance to drop from Arcana, weaponsmithing, armoring, and engineering aptitude reward caches. Another good reason to consider power leveling of your trade skills. You still have around 10 days to do that, so make sure you are ready for the next update. There are also a couple of updates in refining system. They have added refining recipes that let you refine 250 of a tier 5 raw ore, wood, fiber, or rawhide into one legendary material. For instance, you can now convert 250 orichalcum ore into one tolbium. Also, orichalcum ingots can now be crafted with platinum as well as star metal. According to the feedback from PTR players, there is a limit of 10 refining operations per day, same as with resources like Asmodium, runic leather, etc. And you can also turn 3 platinum ingots into 1 orichalcum ingot. This will make silver, gold, and platinum much more valuable. Also, it will indirectly make fishing a bit more profitable because you can get the ingots from treasure chests. We should also expect multiple changes in PvP balance. Keep in mind that these updates are not final, so some of them might not eventually appear in game. As a bow player, I really worry about the crit damage application. Devs say that it will reduce the damage by a small percentage, and for majority of players it might be true, but not for archers. There are many passive abilities, perks, and even arrows which are the damage multipliers, and we can deal a decent amount of damage only if we use as many of them as possible. While other players might have 2-3 damage multipliers, archers may have around 8-10 of them, depending on the build and gear. So to be honest, I really hope that this update will not nerf the bow to the ground. Another thing that may and probably will affect PvP gameplay is a list of new perks that mostly boost heavy attacks, and this part, especially Transient Strikes and Crits, make me worry a little bit less about the new crit damage formulas. Apart from these perks, there are multiple updates for all weapons, but nobody knows yet which of them will be final, so I guess we will return to this topic in one of the next videos. Alright, so what do you guys think about the next patch in general? Personally, I like it, and I really hope that it will not lead to new bugs or exploits as it was previously. I still have hope and faith in New World because of its great potential. If this video was interesting, please consider leaving a like and subscribing for more videos. I am Flanker, and I wish you luck in Eternum.